hurt my heart. I actually spend a lot of time on that, but hello to you, my fellow Dark Ones. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Today we're going to revolutionize our ore processing. We live in the Empire, we don't really support rebellion, but I'm assuming you get the gist. However, before we actually start working, we need rubies. Well, I did manage to get a bunch of rubies. I think that's a decent amount, and yes, I also got lapis. I like lapis. I don't know why. Of course, the entire reason that we're always short on rubies is the Lapatronic capacitor. I need a brand new one, and it has to be big. However, in the meantime, we're also going to require a few more void miners, because I need to set them on different planets. I hate that thing. Now that you're working at ZPM, do you do things faster? That's actually not that bad. Okay, I do have maybe an hour or 2 hours of ores to process, and until then, I'm going to prepare the machines that I'm going to need. However, now that I have extra resources, extra time, and also a decent amount of processing power, I'm getting rid of the drawers. So we need storage. Everything that you see over here is just 256k. We seem to be fine with that. Also the fluid. We have 18 singular solar panels. If we want to upgrade ourselves to LUV, I think we should be fine. So welcome to our miner on ROS 128b. It's nighttime and we should have a few mobs, but I do have a monster repellator down there. Oops. Yeah, I actually didn't think they're going to spawn that close. Anyways, this is titanium plated reinforced stone, right? Originally I made like 1,000 of them in order to make an IC2 reactor in order to get lutetium, but then I changed my mind, so these were redundant. We have our void miner inside, I will show you in a moment, but the reason that we have a superstructure is that there are going to be meteors, like that one. I should probably just take my rocket away. But yeah, if we chunk load it, there are going to be tons of meteors, and I'm scared if something would hit the miner. Maybe we should also cover this side as well, a bit. I think they will just fall straight down, but you can't be too sure. Actually, let's just cover everything. I'm too scared. And I do have plenty of them, so don't you worry. But oh boy, if you misplace them, life is gonna be painful. I have not done the ore processing yet. I just thought that maybe we should get some of the ores before we would be able to process them. Anyways, here's how it's going to work. I have 2 more sets for another planet as well. But currently we have our Nakoda reactor, which does have a conveyor belt, so it can retract the Tiberium rods from the ender chest. And this process is really not automated at this very moment. There is a monster repellator somewhere down there. I don't know. We also have a super output bus so that I can filter out the ores, and these are the blacklisted ones. They don't give us anything special. And for the moment, we're using neon. I just brought some with myself, but there's going to be an ender tank which will output to the hatch. Why are we using neon? Well, because of this guy. I don't really think you're supposed to read that, but it's barium, titanium, europium, etc. Well, this doesn't really show up when you're mining, but the void miner can pick it up. It does give you europium dust, which is amazing. Once you centrifuge it, you will get more europium, titanium, potassium, sulfur, boron, argon, and neon. So actually that's one of the main reasons that we're here, other than the fact that we're going to get more tiberium, a ton of fluorine, and I have been hoping for enriched naquada. Well, we are also getting a ton of sphalerite, which I needed for indium, if you guys remember. So this takes care of ROS 128BA, then we will go to Titan. After I have checked all the ores, make sure that we have everything. Our garbage base at Titan also seems to be working fine, we are operational and we're getting all the ores. And yeah, ROS 128BA is also working. That's good. I never had that much of a chance with miners. Actually, before I left, it ran into a maintenance problem. It's chunk loaded, right? Yeah, this planet is actually quite nice because we will get infused gold. Most importantly, the reason that we're here is monazite, but we're also going to get rubies and also osmium. I just looked for a planet or moon which will give me monazite as well as other goodies. This one seems to be the best one. So the only thing to do is just to go to the Everglades, I suppose. Where are we landing? Ah, good spot. Over here, even though we're not going to have any meteors, we still have the reinforced stone, just to be able to keep everything standard and also get rid of the titanium. But still, it's the same setup and we're getting all kinds of garbage. I know for a fact that this one doesn't require any filtering. Also, why is everything burning? I don't get this, but this is going to be a very laggy dimension. Let's go home. Hello, Piggy. Okay, my fellow lords and ladies of darkness, it has been a while later, and I haven't left this basement. It has been a horrible nightmare, but I have been trying to rework our ore processing. At first glance, it doesn't look much different, I know. But some of the machines are working at LUV, some of them are working at ZPM, because we have something called runite, and it's a ZPM recipe. Just one ore. We have a multi-block washer, we have a multi-block chemical bath, yes, both of them are the same structure. We have more centrifuges, we have our power reserve, our sifter, we now have a multi-block hammer which is also hooked up to our applied energistic system for making the long Tiberium rods. I also obviously have a dehydrator, the coil doesn't really matter on this one, but I thought red looks nice. And we have more electrolyzers. That's the progress I did manage to do so far. I need to improve this way better. You're not really supposed to understand the cabling. The cabling is for me. Red is the main network, sub-network, sub-to-sub-network, you know, weird things. But this is the rate that we're currently getting the ores because we are using neon. And this is the rate that we're processing everything, which is not that bad. I blame runite. I always get a backlog because of that. Yeah. It's this guy over here. Maybe I should have a maceration tower dedicated to runite. The issue is that I think I need runite. Anyways, the process itself is not very important. We have already done this like 3 times. But what is important is that we need to start working on duplicating a gas. And that gas is called krypton. We're going to use UU matter in order to replicate it, and it's going to make our void miners go incredibly fast. Also, I'm tired of runite. Just void it. For now. Yeah, for some reason it creates a backlog which I don't really enjoy. So the data orb goes inside the scanner. Here is my krypton. It will take... What? Okay, it will take an hour. Well, we are going to need some time in order to make some mass fabricators. These are LUV, and the way that they work is that the higher tier you go, the less amps it's going to use. For example, if you use the LV one, you need 8 amps of LV. For high voltage, it's 2 amps. For EV, it's 1 amp. For LUV, it's 1/4 of an amp. And I had absolutely no idea that we can just craft it. Okay, we need a bunch. With the setup that we have, we're almost getting all the essential material. However, there are a few things that we're missing. For example, I'm not getting rubies. I don't know why. So we're going to have a void miner in the overworld as well. Where's my casing? Thank you. I'm really hoping that this void miner is going to provide us with enough rubies as well as aluminium. Also, the void miner looks incredibly bad. The other ones have a standard color. This one is just a mishmash of everything. Yeah, well, maybe not at the front. Front looks fine. Also, the machine casing is wrong. We need the UV, not LUV. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have our void miner. It has been a teeny tiny bit of time later. I had to fix a few things around the base, but everything is operational. And yeah, we're getting ores. Still. Also, ignore whatever I just mentioned about krypton. That's really not what we're going to do. Because yeah, the void miners are working fine. The problem is that from next episode, what we're going to do is that we're going to get into magic. And for example, if I want rubies, I'm just going to summon a meteor. 90 million LP. Gives you 5,000 rubies. Wow. Okay, Icorium. Never mind. I mean, LV field generator gives you 700 rubies, 5% chance. Not the worst. So even though void miners are good enough in order to give us a consistent supply of resources, our main method is going to be the meteor. And I shall not forget about the obsidian. So yeah, we are going to do UU matter, but it's just that we're going to do that a bit later. And yeah, I was even thinking about making a space station near Planet George in order to use a siphon. You know, this guy over here, but apparently it does require 2 amps of ZPM in order to run, and I don't think it's worth it. You can do the exact same thing with UU matter with less costs. Anyways, if you guys remember, a few episodes ago we had a slight problem with saltpeter, and now we have 100,000. On the other hand, we're out of sand. Oh, that rhymed. And that is despite the fact that I have almost turned off every single sag mill except the one. So instead I have picked up a few items. Let's do a small modification. We do have some cobblestone generators. We're going to add a storage bus to the drawer controller. And we're going to start pulverizing some cobblestone. Oh, and yeah, the dark steel balls never worked. I don't know why. But I can't really complain. I have 100,000 saltpeter, so the system worked. Yeah, this is giving me sand, which is perfect. Still, we're not consuming the dark steel balls. But yeah, on a very positive note, I'm getting my sand back. Since we are going to start magic next episode, there are a few things that we need to do. And I don't know if you guys remember or even care, but we do have a hungry node over there. Somewhere. Yes, that one. It has destroyed the dispenser. That's fine. I had to make this one taller. And we do need to make it grow. Originally, I received a very important comment from my dearest friend that I have to use a wooden sword. Because, you know, it's a very easy recipe. The problem is that I don't actually have a molecular assembler. Shocking, I know. It's also very cheap now, but I don't have them. So what we need to do is that we have to use the assembler recipe for the wooden sword, and that's really not gonna happen. I don't even know how to make the wooden sword blade. It's GregTech, it's not even Tinker's. Doesn't really matter, but what we are going to do is that we're just gonna go with crafting tables. They're incredibly cheap, especially if you use the assembler, which I think works with spruce, right? Yeah. We have a multi-block assembler, which is going to be incredibly fast, and I think, yeah, I have something here. What were you doing? Oh, monazite, okay. What will happen if I put something inside? Oh, what? Ah, okay. We have to recolor this one. I don't really want to play around with channels, so I have recolored the ender chest. We put it next to the export bus, and instead of monazite, we're just gonna export crafting tables, right? With some acceleration cards. Lovely. For some reason, we also have like 500,000 obsidian, and I don't really know why. But at least now we know if we want to make this tower a bit taller, it's not going to be a problem. Wait, why are we using... Oh, we can't use an open crate. Because I think then it will just dump everything inside. We don't want that to happen. You have your ender chest, and I'm picking up everything, which is not fine. But now we are feeding it crafting tables, right? Yeah, it's eating it. It's very difficult to get up here. Yeah, that should grow. So making crafting tables is not really gonna be a big deal, it's just that I don't think we have enough flint. Let's order 5,000, we're out of flint. To sort out the flint, I have already made the sag mills. That means that we're getting a bit more gravel. And since we do have a sifter, I think we should be able to do something about gravel. I mean flint. Here is an ME interface. It's a good thing I have everything down here. You come with me. Channels are fine, I suppose, yes. And I don't know the ratio between gravel and flint in a sifter. Well, I think you're bound to get like 3, but we go with 1, just in case. So if I want 3,000 more crafting tables, yeah, we should be able to make it. Oh yeah, you get way more flint. Oops. It's okay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of our crafting tables, and our hungry node is growing once more. Another very small project that I want to take care of is mana. So we do have like 3 endo flames, and over the past 1000 hours, that's the total amount of mana that I did manage to bank. I was also trying Rosa Arcana. Unfortunately, in this version, it doesn't really work with dropped experience. You have to stand on it. There are a bunch of generating flora from Botania, and no, we don't have Shulk Minot because there are no shulkers, and all of them are a bit complicated to automate. So it doesn't really matter which one we pick, we're going to pick Thermolilies, because it's cheaper to craft. So that's going to be our first one. The way that this guy works is that you give it a bucket of lava, it will generate mana for 45 seconds, and it's a lot of mana. It's actually quite decent. Anyways, it will produce mana for 45 seconds, and then it will have a cooldown of 5 minutes in this version. So now if I give it lava, it's just gonna consume it and do nothing. So that's our method of generating mana. We're going to have a few of them. However, the main problem is that we don't have any lava. I'm assuming there are like millions of ways to get lava in this mod pack. One of them is space pumping. No, I'm joking, that's really not gonna work. But essentially what I want to do is that I want to make the pump from extra utilities. That means we actually need the QED. That means that we are going to need burnt quartz, and unfortunately I have used all of my dark ashes. So we take some from here. Gives you dark ashes, right? Yeah. I think that should be enough. I have set in all the patterns that we're going to need. However, we also need magical wood, which is really not going to work with a pattern. Also, it does require a bunch of carbonite, so let's try to get some. You know the drill, it's a duping mechanic. Oh, all of that at the same time? Nice. Let's get more. Hearing random explosions everywhere. What is the reason behind that? Is it like a weird bat? We don't have silver wood. Oops. I don't really want to destroy these ones. It's like the only vegetation left. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't really have a choice. We take that one, it doesn't have a node. We just replant it. And maybe another one here. So that is our magical wood. We also need to have a matrix. Oh, I have everything. Nice. Thank you. Actually, we need way more matrices. We need 2 more. And we're out of V. Aha, so I made a teeny tiny boo-boo. We didn't need that many matrices. The matrix was actually just for the QED. Every time you look at it, it has a different name. I think. No? Yeah, it does. I'm so happy to see the actual QED. Also, I have done some research. We're a bit warpy. Okay, if I'm not wrong, we should have almost everything. Yes, now we have it. For some reason, I actually have to put everything manually, which I don't really understand. But that is going to be our pump. Quantum entanglement doohickey. We have our pump, and yeah, obviously we're going to do everything inside the nether because, well, it's full of lava. And also a teeny tiny bit of unwanted creatures. Yeah, I just went out of render distance, we seem to be fine. So I think the pump has to be touching the lava. I have a quantum tank, and I have brought an aquado reactor, which is Mark III, so it's LUV. It's an overkill, but it's the only one I can craft easily, that's the thing. And I should have brought a cable. Why am I in the obsidian? Thank you for destroying my portal. It's okay. We light it up again? Thank you. I'm assuming now the portals are not going to match. Please be in the same spot. There you are. Awesome. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Now with the wire it's actually working and we're getting lava incredibly fast. There's absolutely no reason to do this, it's just that I like draining the nether. However, instead of an ender tank, I have set in patterns for the ender fluid link cover. It's supposed to be an ender tank, but you can craft it for people who hate magic. So if we set the channel to lava, what should we do? Export? Oh, the power is gonna last a very long time. It's like we're giving it 150,000 RF per tick. And I think it consumes like 2,000. So, now that I'm back, can I have access to my lava? No? Oh, it's a bit laggy. I don't know how it works. We go with ender tanks. I don't really hate magic, and because of our ore processing we have like 10 of them extra. Also, every time that I try to break it, there is a bit of lag. Maybe not this time. Don't you worry, later on I will learn it. Can't be a big deal. And I think if you pick up a quantum tank, you're not going to get bad effects. That's true. I think I have learned how the ender cover works. The first one has to be on import, and the target has to be on export. I don't really know, I just got confused. But you see, if I put a bucket of milk, it should go here. Now it's not going in. I messed up the channel, I'm sorry. Now it's here. It's actually quite neat. We might use it a lot. So, since we're not going to start magic today, we're not going to automate the thermal lilies, but yeah, we have access to our lava, which is great. Now let us get on with the ender quarry. The ender quarry itself does require 2 pumps in its recipe. There's also a pump upgrade, but I don't think we're gonna make it. And I really want to have like 2 ender quarries, so let's get more ender infused obsidian. Takes a bit of time. I have to upgrade the power situation in our base, but we will do that when I'm doing magic. But in any case, that's our extra pump. It should be ready soon. I love this thing. Quacky ender device. Quite expensive decoration. Quantum entanglement diviner. Mods used to be so fun. Oh boy, ender quarry is hard. What? What? Let me set some patterns. Do we have a dire crafting table? Oh, we have one here. So let me set up some patterns, I guess. For some reason, I actually love it when everything is working. Like crazy. I like the idea of consuming like millions of resources at the same time. But we do have our molecular assemblers, we have our interfaces, and I think we're going to set it up over here. Because I do have a plan that I want to move all the assembly lines and the circuit assemblers to a void dimension. Because I have seen at the endgame you're going to need like 50 of them, and I don't really want to put all of them here. But very cool, that is 64 molecular assemblers and interfaces. And all of them have upgrades. Oh, actually no, we're missing upgrades for 16 of them, which fear not, it's being crafted. Also, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the most important part of this series, because we can finally have a pattern for a pattern. We're just gonna put it in the center. We don't have a center, but you get the gist. So the entire reason that we have made this, that's actually not a horrifying pattern. Just in case, let's have one. But the entire reason that we have done this is actually for the ender quarry itself. Cause you know, I'm actually not gonna make everything manually. Guess what? Our ender quarry is ready. And also guess what? On episode 1, when I was telling you that when are we going to end this series, we were actually talking somewhere around here. I just remembered it because the tree is still burning and I already took the lava. I needed lava. So we have 2 ender quarries and both of them are going to be silk touch. I think there is a bug here, they're having babies. I go to a lot of villages, not many of them survive. Anyways, this is one of those quarries which is eventually going to destroy our world, so let's set it up far, far away. I don't know, maybe in here. Actually, it would be easier to do it underground. I think they can share one ender chest. Maybe. They're also going to receive a tier 3 speed upgrade, the highest one. And they're also going to receive silk touch. Because we don't really want to have the raw ores, we want the actual ore. And for some reason, I don't have enough cables. Actually, we can put the Sirtosh upgrade underneath and the reactor on top. Yeah, now we have enough. If this thing works fine, then we're going to put it on every single dimension. But yeah, this should be a valid setup, everything seems to be connected, and yes, we do have power. It's also supposed to chunk load itself, so we're not going to worry about that. But we are going to worry about finding it later on. So let's mark it, just in case, a monster repellator. And now we need to be able to mark everything. So I have made some ender markers. Oops, they're glitchy. And what we need to do is to select 3/4 of a square. So we need to go 1000 blocks. Obviously, we're not going to dig. It's Y level 67 and X 2016. So we go to like 3000. So I have moved roughly 1000 blocks. Let's see if it links. Nope. I might have moved a bit. Here? Yes, exactly. We have the particles. So now we need to go 1000 blocks that way. I'm actually worried. Should we dig? In the past, I always used to dig. No, I just wrote it down. We fly. I think that should be the 3rd corner. Precisely. I don't really think you need a 4th corner. Well, there's only one way to find out. We right-click. Aha. You know, the worst part is, I don't really remember why I left the last marker. It's fine, it's unexplored territory, we should be able to find it. It was on top of a frozen river. Yeah, it's working. You need 3 corners. It's just that you need specific corners. One should be here, that one, and that one. It's just that we're getting a bit more garbage than I was expecting. And a bit faster than I was expecting. Well, it's working fine. The only problem is that we hit a magnetite vein. Again, I just have to set up the other ender quarry. It seems to work. I mean, if you put it on different planets, this is just gonna be amazing as well. It's a 1000 by 1000 block radius. It's basically mining 1,000,000 square meters, so that's awesome. We're gonna have 2, so double that. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye bye.